talk to me about Protestantism and the capitalist spirit. You made a short video about it, why we might have Martin Luther to thank for something like Coca-Cola or McDonald's.
There is a strong argument to be said for thanking Martin Luther for So next time, I think I ended that video by saying, so next time you get your Big Mac meal or the likes, thank Martin Luther for your side of ambition, or something along those lines. But yes, I think it's one of the I think that period in history, the early 16th century, turn of the 15th century, is just one of the most absurd. You can call it a freak storm that happened at that time, but you had the printing press in 1450, which gave people like Luther, Zwingli, Calvin the tools they needed to distribute their Protestant ideas. So previously, ideas would have been localized in a village here, a village there, no way of spreading it beyond someone going out and giving speeches and traveling far and wide. Not to say that can't work. I mean, Paul with Jesus did a remarkable job of doing just that, and the early followers of Jesus did a great job. That things can spread, but it's much harder. So now you had a complete expansion of ideas, and whether that's Erasmus with humanism or whether that's Protestantism with Luther, Calvin, and Zwingli, things are spreading along a lot faster. But we'd have to go into the roots of Martin Luther's theology to understand how that led to capitalism, and also then just briefly discuss Max Weber's theory. It's a theory that Max Weber put forwards in his work, The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism. So Martin Luther, I'm not going to say he hated the Catholic Church. He saw it as corrupt. It was distanced from the true word of God. You had to go back to what the Bible really said. The problem was, the Bible being the foundation of Christianity, no one could understand it. It was preached in Latin. People couldn't speak, couldn't read. They couldn't read Latin. They couldn't understand it. So Martin Luther said, right, well, we're going to try and print the Bible in the languages that we used at the time. But there were also plenty of other theological problems, one of which being that people of the time went to church, didn't understand anything, and then to go to heaven, all they had to do was pay indulgences, which is basically a bribe you gave to the church, and then the priest said, great, you're going to heaven, don't worry, just pay your indulgence next time. So that took away a lot of the guilt, and people just went to church as a cultural thing. Martin Luther said, that's wrong, that's corruption. But by removing indulgences, you introduce another problem. Whereas indulgences were bad, at least they let me know that I'm going to heaven, or at least they let me believe I'm going to heaven. How do you then square that circle? How does someone know they're going to heaven? So Martin Luther said, well, because of predestination, God knows who's going to heaven and who's going to hell. It's already decided. God knows. But that's not good enough, because you're going to be filled with angst to try and prove to yourself and your neighbor that you are going to heaven. And so how do you prove that? If you're a Catholic farmer, you may have farmed one field just to feed enough for your family. But a Protestant farmer is now beginning to tie material success to signs that they are part of the elect, predestined to go to heaven. So they start farming more and more and more and more and more to demonstrate that point. And that is how, according to Max Weber, you end up with McDonald's. that is what kickstarts. Obviously, Max Weber didn't talk about McDonald's. It was way before McDonald's came about. But that is how you end up with the capitalism that we see at the moment. Which develops. It's fascinating.
It's funny though, because even now it echoes in the modern prosperity movement, which happens a lot, say, in the States of, if you're right with God, he'll then bless you with health and wealth. And I always find that quite funny, because the one person who was, say, the most right with God was Jesus. And what happened to him? He was tortured and then killed.